Shelley Carney and Toby Eunice bring you New Mexico day trips. Visit national parks, monuments, state parks, and historical sites. See the amazing and unique desert vistas of the Land of Enchantment and walk through the visitor centers, museums, and Pueblo ruins with us. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and flavors of New Mexico. Let's have an adventure. Hello and welcome to New Mexico Day Trips. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Tonight we're going to be summing up our day trips of the year. Now, we didn't start day tripping until, what was it? August? I think it was August.
I'll have to go back and look at the videos that we posted.
Yeah.
Because we took some of the, so yeah, I'm going to say
So
August.
for just a few months.
Although I noticed we have like 79 videos up.
Well, yeah.
We have a bunch of shorts, I think.
Yeah.
Shorts.
You betcha.
Wait a minute. Let me get the volume just up a couple of decibels here. I just always feel like it's low. Anyway.
And so tonight we'll be summing up what we've done, where we've been, and looking ahead to where we're going to go
next year.
In 2023.
What's going to happen in 2023?
Yeah.
Assuming that
so
we
got to
survive
travel
New Year's Eve.
from late summer through, winter. So
the present.
We hit some summer, some fall, and some winter. We haven't had any spring or a great big summer.
No, and I've kind of missed that because the simple fact of the matter is there's times where you're out, you realize this is, although a nice place to be, it's unphotogenic as a result of the lack of color. It's winter colors, gray.
Yeah.
Which is not exactly the best. Plus the cloudy skies don't help. Let me go back and see when our first.
We had cloudy skies today. We had some rain. So we didn't go nowhere today.
This was New Mexico's version of winter. Let me see. So our first live stream was back when related to this.
Elephant Butte was our
Blue
first
Hole.
one. When we talked about Elephant Butte, are you on live? Oh, you are on live.
Yeah.
Well, we had that on the other channel. That's before we
what it
opened up
is.
the channel.
Well, this goes back. Oh, it says 3 months ago. So it doesn't actually tell you what date. I'd have to open it up to find that out, and I'm going to go do that. All right. Well, let's kind of go ahead. So I want to accomplish two things tonight. Number three is one or two. Two. Number one, I want to talk about the topic of where we've been, where we're going. And I guess topic number two is what we feel like our hits and misses are. Maybe we should talk about where we've been, hits and misses, and where we're going. And then I promised these guys that I was going to make a video of our field kit. And so this afternoon I did. And so it's not exactly the prettiest thing in the world, but it is our field kit. And I brought some of the equipment here so they can get a close-up look. Well, not close-up, but, see some of the stuff that we have.
All right.
So I know that on occasion you have expressed a little bit of concern as to what we're doing and what's going on. So why don't we start with you? Let's start with misses. What do you think in the past, since August, are our big misses?
Gosh, show me what we've done here. And I'll try to
so here's what we're done. Those are the places we've gone to: Turquoise Trail, Missions, White Sands. And I'm not just talking about the places we've been or what we've accomplished, where we've shot.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about planning, programming, interviewing, things that we've done, the way we've done it. So
Well, one of my big misses, of course, was when we went to Los Golondrinas and for the Ren Fair, and I kept turning the camera off when I thought it was thought I was turning it on.
the old vice
So
versa.
that was a big miss on my part.
Yeah. Well, thankfully,
Missed your entire interviews, and
Yeah.
I just made a mess of it.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny because we had such good interviews with those folks, and the whole time it was off. So I didn't feel. I'm sure you felt worse about that than I did for two reasons. Number one, we had plenty of other content. We over collect content, and that's partially my fault because I have been in situations in my life, and that's a lot of what you and I are experiencing doing this, whether it was field work years ago or field work now, were mistakes that I made when I was building a business in Washington, D.C. And there were times where I'd be paid to go out in the field. I'd be gone for 2 months and I'd come back and I'd realize, I didn't collect enough content. So I make up for that now by making sure that we have more than enough content. I mean, the stuff that we collected yesterday for next week's show, I probably have enough material for 2 shows, at least 2 shows and a video. That's how it's all going to turn out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good. I'd rather have a lot more content than not have enough, which is where you don't want to be. And then the second thing is that little thing where you turn things off when you need them on and vice versa. That is a product of the digital age. Back in the olden days, you didn't have the problem of turning on and off. If you were using a camera, you advanced the frame, right? If you're using a film camera, you heard it go on. Like you knew that thing was spinning inside because it was making clicking noises and stuff. When we went to VHS was the first time you had that little experience of pressing a button and assuming that everything was happening. And to a certain extent, you could hear that tape going, even through the first version of digital tape, you know, the first DIP, digital, I can't remember, DIT, digital something tape, digital imaging tape. But you could hear it spin. So there was an oral reinforcement that you were doing something, that something was happening. Well, when we went full digital, it's the press of the button. And if you're not looking at exactly something in the frame or looking at the red button, that's why that red button is there, right? The red button is there so that you have some sort of visual cue.
Yeah, but either it's a circle or it's a kind of a rounded square, and
right.
That's not enough of a differentiation.
Yeah, it is
because they're both red. Now,
well,
if one was red and one
the other
was
green,
a different color.
Yeah. But it didn't come along. That's a byproduct of the digital age because there's no oral reinforcement. There's no film moving. There's no videotape rolling through the rollers, et cetera, et cetera. And as a result, not only you, but I and many others that I know of as professionals working in the Washington metropolitan area, and I'm sure it's happened here, you know, with the film community, because they're all digital. And you're so focused on the shot and the framing and all these other things, you forget to notice. If you're looking through a viewfinder, you forget to notice whether or not it says rec up there in the corner, you know, or if you're looking at now because we have,
or if you put your drone up in the sky and you forget to turn the camera
on. Voila. Did we not fly an 8-minute flight yesterday that was perfectly flown? And the camera was never turned on.
Well, how perfect can it be if the camera wasn't on?
There's a difference between a perfect flight and the results of that flight. So there, it happens to everybody, even us aged professionals.
Yeah.
So, and I can't get upset at those things. You know, I don't think it's fair to get upset at other people making mistakes that you have made more than once in your career. And I have. And I think I've been fortunate. I'm always very good at apologizing and looking for alternatives or what else could I do to make up for it. And I learned that a long time ago, that the minute you know that you've made a mistake, you tell your client, I've made a mistake. And I don't think in an entire career of making mistakes, I've ever had a client say, oh, well, I'm never going to work with you again. Well, we had that experience with DJ, where I didn't turn on the audio recorder for that interview with the lady president of the First American Bank or something. And we had to call her back. But the minute I knew I made the mistake, I went into DJ and I said, I made a mistake and we need to get that young lady back here. So I think it's inevitable with the amount of technology that we're using that we're going to make mistakes, and we're both going to make mistakes. You've made some and I've made some, and that's just the nature of that beast. There's nothing that we are doing that is so mission critical that you can get angry at it. I mean, the worst that could happen, think of it this way. You go someplace, you go to the Malpais, and you forget all your SD cards, and it's Sunday evening and you can't buy anymore. I mean, literally. So you would drive out there, waste the gas, waste the time, and not get any footage at all. That's the worst. That's the worst possible outcome. Or even better, you shoot everything. You shoot for 4 hours or 5 hours, and you drop you pack your SD cards in your little plastic box, and then you drop your plastic box in the porta potty accidentally.
Who would ever do something like
Go
that?
get that out of there, because you're not going to get it out of there, right? What's the worst? So let's say that's the worst that can happen. First of all, nobody's going to get mad except you at yourself, me at myself. And then I'm going to reschedule the event, the date, and hope that you'll come along with me.
I've got 2 others.
What other 2? Are these mine?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No. The first one is nobody's fault. We just didn't know because we hadn't used the camera before. But at Elephant Butte, we used that camera.
Oh,
we thought it was going to be okay,
yeah.
And then it turned out to be garbage footage, and we didn't have enough stuff to make a video.
Right.
In the end,
yeah.
We just came and back and we talked about it. And,
right.
We didn't ever put a video together because we just didn't have enough footage.
Well, we could have put a video together. It would have just been crummy footage. And I don't know, I guess you and I were talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you said, well, let's make, we have all that footage from Elephant Butte. And I had forgotten why we didn't use that footage. I thought it was like we didn't have time. And I went back and I started looking at the footage and I realized, oh, that's why we didn't make the video. You could make it. It's got good audio. It's got, I don't even want to say it's reasonable video. It's just terrible, grainy video because it does a digital zoom. Unlike the GoPros and the DJI action cams, it's not starting with 4K. So when you tell the action cam to make what it calls its standard picture, it's actually a digital zoom on a 4K sensor. So you can't tell that. And DJI and of course GoPro do the same thing when it comes to that. The DJI Pocket has,
which is the other one that I was going to talk about.
Okay, well, go ahead.
The mistake of dropping the Pocket.
Well, that wasn't a mistake.
Well, yeah, it was.
That was an accident.
Well, yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah, an accident. That's not a mistake. There's a big difference between an accident and a mistake.
Oh, what?
Let's see. An accident was unplanned and unprovoked. It simply happens. A mistake is something that you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I should have been holding it different. Should have been holding it in my hand.
As opposed to what?
On that thing that was loose. that rig that you had put together.
Okay, so let's talk about that. That's a $500, $600 camera.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
It fell off the rig onto the
ground. No. I mean, what happened after we broke it? And it was unusable. What happened?
You sent it back to DJI.
And what did DJI do?
They sent us a new one.
Right. And what did I do after that?
You bought insurance.
Yeah, and they didn't charge me for the new one.
Yeah.
They could have charged me because it was out of warranty. And it was a mistake. It wasn't something wrong with the camera. So they're nice guys. I've been with them for 10, 12 years now. So, and you have to register every piece of equipment that you buy from them. So again, it was Like it's heartbreaking in the moment. Like, oh, that poor little pocket, it didn't deserve that. I actually did something else. I got a protective case for it.
Oh, that's right.
So now you can drop it and ain't nothing going to happen to it in this
fact, you
case.
did, didn't you?
I did drop it. Yeah, you can see see that right there? See that little one right there?
Yeah.
And that's the same drop right there.
Ooh.
Nothing. It's in the package, right? So yeah, I think there are times where I got angry at myself for that kind of accident, right? Blaming myself, going back and saying, well, if I hadn't done this and I hadn't done this and I hadn't done this, the accident wouldn't have occurred. I've also made mistakes, forgetting whether I'm recording or not recording, like you did at Golondrinas. That's a mistake, right? That's my fault. I can't blame that on the camera. I can't blame that on anything. There's supposed to be a little red button up, the little blinking red light, and I didn't notice that the red light wasn't blinking. So, but there's none of that stuff. I don't know. So it's not like I'm making a living at this right now. There was a time where I had to make a living at it. And so I think I took my mistakes and accidents much more seriously. But in the end, I found out two things. It's always easier to apologize than to ask permission. That's number one. And number two is admit your mistake as soon as you can so you can get everybody in line for getting it fixed. Because the other thing that I discovered as a result of that is when you tell people that you made a mistake and that you need to fix it, they get involved. Like, okay, well, I'll call them. I'll call her and she'll, DJ call. I'll call her and tell her she has to come back. So they become part of the solution as opposed to just getting mad and saying, I don't know how I could trust you with this shit. I'm not going to pay you. Leave. Nobody's ever done that to me.
Well, she wasn't paying you anyway, so.
No. Well, that was one of those. Well, she was. She gave us a booth, right? We were getting in kind.
Yeah. So those were my misses. What were yours?
Just starting up with this crazy idea. Like, holy moly, what am I doing here? This is supposed to be my retirement. I'm supposed to be watching TV and drinking Maker's Mark in Club Soda in the evening. I've had both mistakes and accidents, hits and misses. The result is I end up spending money because my misses generally have to do with making an immediate decision. Oh, look, that Picasso is on sale. I'll buy it. Oh, crap, it sucks. And so then I have to go back. I've kept it too long to return it. I've taken it all apart, so I can't even get all the pieces back together in the damn box. Those action camera people are masters at boxing. With everything has a place and you have to attach it this way, and I can never get them back in the box. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you end up spending more money than you should. And I guess I should be grateful that I have kind of a little bit of a freedom to be able to do that. And it's a hard lesson to learn that you make those kinds of mistakes, that even today, after 40 years worth of experience, I still make the occasional bad decision about a piece of equipment that costs me buying the correct piece of equipment. And I think I remember buying the Picasso because I've never have been a fan of GoPro for some reason. Just never. I think I've owned one, and it was just a bad experience for me. And since then, I've held it against them. And I know Kevin bought one for you that we used a lot, but he kind of handled it. I don't know if you recall, but I let him handle it. Like, you take care of it because I don't want to touch that GoPro. And the Action 3 hadn't come out. DJI's new camera hadn't come out. They were still in the 2, and the Action 2. So they made an Action 1 that was in the GoPro model. Then they made this Action 2 that engineering design was very innovative, but everybody hated it. Like, I didn't even look at it. It was one of those where you'd go like, what the hell are they thinking? Nobody's going to buy that. Sure enough, nobody bought it. So they had to come out with Action 3, which is back to the GoPro form factor. And and it's a better camera with a better sensor, better lens, etc., and better software. And so if I had been more patient and waited for the 3, I wouldn't have made the Akaso bad decision. So the advantage is I'll probably give it away as a white elephant at Christmas or at New Year's. So those are my misses. My misses have to do with my impatience and my desire to make the perfect video with the equipment that I can afford. Like, can I afford an $8,000 camera? I wouldn't be able to get it with cash, but I've got enough credit that if I wanted an $8,000 camera, I could. But the simple fact of the matter is, I don't need an $8,000 camera. I have all the cameras I need, none of which cost $8,000. And that's the good news. So the hit that we've experienced, at least I've experienced this year, is how good the equipment has gotten, how effective it has gotten, how small it has gotten, and how inexpensive it has gotten in contrast to its capabilities. Like, I paid $329 for a 4K 60 frame 100K BPS camera in a package that size. Doesn't have interchangeable lenses or things like that, but it does everything that you want it to do. And that camera 5 years ago would have cost 5 times that. You know, now you can afford to own 2 of them.
You can.
Well, it's still not that expensive. Anyway, so that's for me, that was the big hit, the fact that technology is coming down. And I'm gonna show, well, I'll do it after the equipment video, but I'm gonna show them some of the equipment that we use as we did in the video, but I brought it with me so they can see it.
Well, I think the hit too, or the good thing, when we say hit, is the upgrade on your computer made your workflow for editing.
Well, I was getting to that, but you're right.
And we learned to make YouTube Shorts, and that's been bringing in new subscribers,
new views,
more views.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those. The hit, the fact that the excitement that you exhibited after telling me about the computer that Kevin built you, and I was kind of surprised that you know, like, you're spending how much on a new computer? What happened to that computer I bought for you?
It died.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It died.
It was old.
Actually, it wasn't just that it was old. It died on you, didn't it?
Yeah.
And
died of old age.
So you and Kevin decided to build the new one, and you were talking about how fast the startup was and how fast it rendered things. And I thought, I have to do that. You know, that's crazy to have that kind of power available to us in the form of a computer that you assemble, and even better, somebody who can do it, and somebody who's willing to do it gratis, you know. And I felt very blessed that Kevin was able to do that, do it quickly. There was the suffering of a couple of days worth of troubleshooting, but even at that, you know, he got through it real quickly. And before I knew it, I had a computer that was rendering 1 hour long videos in 8 minutes, which for me was a completely, it wasn't just a new experience. It gave me back a part of my life that I didn't have, you know, prior to that. So that's what was fun for me, was that. And then the fact that we started seeing the funny little results on the shorts, you know, they were okay. I mean, there was good shorts, like the first couple that you put out, and we got 307 views at a time where we were getting 20 or 30 views. And then you put out that second one and it got 637 views. I think that's the one where I had looked at it about 40 minutes after you had put it up, and it already had 43 views, and like 10 minutes later, it had 430 views or something. I mean, it was just amazing. And then we got that 1.5K views. You guys, I guess I can share this with you while we're doing this. So these are the shorts that we've been developing recently. And it turns out that this little model of having us driving, I don't know if I guess, could we show one of them? So it's this model. And so because we're shooting 2 cameras, right? Right here.
I can hear it
on a
anyway.
2-lane.
You didn't share the audio, did you?
I
did that.
Just made the. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I had, because I remember that song.
Well, you're not sharing it.
Museum open?
No, sir, it's not. We're under construction.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Could be something about on Facebook.
All right, what's open down this direction?
We
So
have the Cantina, which is a
that's a YouTube short. They run 60 seconds or less. We've found a way to take the content that we've already built and add one camera on the top, one camera on the bottom. And that YouTube seems to like that model. And the reason we know that is because we've had several that have gotten 1.5K, 1.4K. They're getting views. They seem to like that. So we're going to make more of them. And that was a hit in that Shelley had been using this model on her other products, Shelley Carney Livestream and Women Conquer Business, and she was getting views. And so she suggested we try it. And I don't know how we came up. How did we come up with this model?
I
Just
put it like that.
You decided to do that first one like that?
Yeah.
This one, right?
That was
Yeah. Or was it this one?
Well, that's the trailer, but yeah, that's the first one I did for this channel.
Yeah. And people seem to have liked it. And so we decided let's do more of them. And yesterday we shot the footage for next week's show at El Malpais. And we actually consciously took an approach in that would enable us to create more of these shorts, whether we were in the truck or not. Now, I haven't actually put any of that stuff together just yet because I've got to make the video first and then we pull it out. But we'll be able to do more of these types where it's a 2-camera upper and lower level short where the top camera is showing one thing and the bottom camera is showing another, but they're timed. What's the right word for that? They're synchronized. Yeah, they're synced.
Because it's the front view and the back view, basically.
Right. And the other thing too is Shelley, there's a product that we've been using for, I don't know, years now, Descript. How long have we had Descript?
About a year.
Yeah, Shelley is much better at, I don't have the patience for it, but Shelley has been using it now for a year to take our audio files, and now you can take a video file and you can turn it into a transcript. It transcribes it for you. Then you make changes. And they've been making continuous improvements along the way. And one of the improvements that they've made is you can feed it one of these vertical videos and it captions it for you. And then you can add GIFs, and then you can add audio enhancements or special effects. So it's all very cool because it's moved along at a pace that happens to be in line where we want to be. And it's kind of fun because now we're producing content with these little, it doesn't change the kind of content we're producing. When we were at El Malpais yesterday, we got the same amount of content. We got, as usual, more than we'll ever need. But some of it was shot with the intent of being able, not only solving the problem of shooting it while you're shooting the content so it's informative, but shooting it so that it makes an easy transition to these double-decker shorts that we've been doing that seem to be getting results. I'm very happy with the results. So.
Okay. So
those are hits and misses. Do you have anything that else you go back and you say to yourself, that was not fun?
Not fun.
Yeah, that it just, I'll never do that again.
I don't remember anything that.
I wish Toby was a better person. I would like this more. No. Oh, okay. Well, you never know.
I guess just the whole, I'll never drop the camera again. So I'm holding my hand.
Well, I even put
Other than that,
I even put a safety strap on.
I know we haven't used that hardly at all.
I know. We're going to start using it more. Okay. I mean, there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was hits and misses. I do want to show you some of the photos that we shot yesterday at El Malpais, because this is next week's show and we're really looking forward to it. This place was amazing. Just, I want to go back again in the spring. I want to go back. I could go back to the place 4 times. There's a hiking trail that's 7 miles long that I want to take. And because it takes you along an old Indian trail through the Badlands. Malpais is Spanish for Badlands, and that's where we were. And I want to go back. G says, "Howdy, Shelley and Toby." Howdy, G. But I want to share some of the photos that we shot so you get a sense of what we were doing yesterday.
You have to add it.
Is that okay?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So yesterday we were at El Malpa. Now these are unedited, so you're going to see a bunch of extra stuff in here. These are at El Malpais National Monument. And there's also a second area. This is run by the National Park Service. There's a second, I guess I should have added it too, because we did shoot in that area. It's the National El Malpais National Conservation Area. And it's run by the BLM. So there's a little bit more freedom there to do stuff. This is on the highway. We always put one camera up on the front of the truck. And usually we put a battery pack with it. And then I've got a small safety cable that I tie from the camera back to the windshield wiper. Oh, there you go. So that's me connecting it to the windshield wiper. And that way, if for some reason the camera comes flying off or whatever reason, we use, I'll show you, I'm going to show you those in the video. We use suction cup mounts. They're actually made by GoPro, suction cup mounts, and they're very good. But that little safety, it's a very thin cable that has a breaking strength of, I don't know, 50 pounds. It's really amazing. And that way, if the camera should go flying off, it's not going to go off into the road. It's just going to fall down in front of your grill and probably do some damage there. So the first thing that we did is we went
and
to...
then you put another camera inside.
Oh, they're right. And then we put the second camera inside the truck. I need to clean your lenses. The second camera inside the truck, and that's the one that looks at us and we talk to. And you see the wireless receiver there. We both have wireless transmitters on us, and that's the wireless receiver that's plugged into the camera. I guess I could do this. So the first place we went to visit was the New Mexico Mining Museum in Grants. And although it is very much focused on uranium mining, they have a lot of geology there, and they have some paleontology. This is one of the bones that was dug out of the uranium mine, and it's a thigh bone of, I didn't see the creature that it, what did they say? Which one
A
did it?
Toposaurus.
Toposaurus?
A Toposaurus.
A Toposaurus.
Yeah. Used to be called the Brontosaurus. I guess they've changed it to the Atoposaurus.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't follow my,
Well,
I don't follow my sources.
on the card there.
Anyway, you look at it, it's a big bone. And it was found as they were digging for uranium.
And it started out as bone, and then I guess there's a process where, as it like petrifies, it's replaced by carbon and
lime.
Turns into basically a rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a drilling bit, and they put that in. I'll show you the tower that they put that in, and it's powered by the combination of water and electricity with gear drives, and those are diamond-tipped bits. And so they dig into the ground. That's how they start the down shaft, by using one of these, and then they expand on the down shaft. That's one of the what do they call them? Towers. Towers, is that what they call them? I thought they had another name for them.
I don't know.
That sits over the mine, that handles all the bringing up of the ore and the people and letting them down and putting air through. They have to, of course, flow air down through there. And this was outside the museum. Then once inside, I didn't take that shot.
That was mine, and they took it in front of the other museum next door.
Oh, the Cibola County Museum?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the sandstone. They call it concretion.
Oh. there's other geologies. Concretions is where you find a lot of semi-precious gemstones in concretions because they contain gas.
And that's the front door.
Oh, that's the one that
with
was
the
closed.
hours. Yeah, Cibola County Historic Museum.
Right. And it's right next to the other museum.
Yeah.
So this is the visitor center over, and I'm going to go through these quickly because you're going to see more videos. This is the visitor center at
The mining museum.
no,
Oh, no.
this is
That's
the
right.
Malpais
That's right.
National Monument. And they had these very cool, I don't know what to call them. I guess they were exhibits. But the way the exhibit was designed, they'd have a title and a tour number, and then they would have a map through it. And I asked if there was a book that I was kind of disappointed. Not disappointed. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say.
You were hoping they had a book. And
I was hoping that they had a book that did all these different tours that you could take. And Shelley was smart enough to get them, but they have a lot of other exhibits as well. So here's the wilderness experience, and it has to do mostly with the Northeast area up there, Grand Scallop. You can see where the road is, but there are several national parks and national monuments up there, and there's a lot of geology up there. So I have a book called Gem Trails of New Mexico. And this area up there, because of the volcanic activity that happened in some cases as little as 5,000 years ago, but in a lot of cases as much as 100 million years ago, has a lot of geology. So you can find gemstones and semi-precious gemstones, things like that, all in the area. And in some cases, they're literally laying on the ground. All you have to do is drive through them and pick them up. So we want to go back and do a little bit of that. So this inscription is from the sandstone rock bluff that's at El Morro National Monument. And that's the one I want to go to for two reasons. One, it's where Inscription Rock is, where travelers as far back as 1540 were leaving their engravings in here. And prior to that, there were ancient Puebloans also doing their petroglyphs in it. And there's one wall that is protected that is completely covered with scribblings, including Juan de Oñate. And this was his inscription, and other notable Spaniards, as well as as I said, the petroglyphs of Native Americans, ancient Puebloans, and travelers. I don't want to call them white travelers. What would you call them? Settlers, white settlers that would leave their inscriptions and in some cases tell their stories. That's all at El Morro. And what's interesting about El Morro is not only is it a national park, and it has Inscription Rock, but above Inscription Rock, and they didn't know this until later, there's a bluff above it. It was what I would call a mesa, but they continue to refer to it as a bluff. So I'm going to let them call it a bluff. At the top of that bluff, and you can hike up there, and they've also carved steps into it and everything, there's another ancient pueblo up there, and it's called Atsina. And Atsina in that language means the place where there is writing on the rock. And at one point, it had 850 rooms with that style, Chacoan style of building, the flat sandstone style of building, and supported a population of over 4,000 people. And so the weather has been uncooperative since I first saw that location. And even yesterday, where it said it was going to be in the 50s and there was going to be no wind, it was definitely not in the 50s. It was not partly cloudy, and there was lots of wind, to the extent that one of the times I launched the drone, I got a message back that said, it's too windy up here. You start making a plan for landing. So, because it will tell you that when it's too windy. Anyway, El Morro is just west and slightly, west of El Malpais. If we had gone another 20 miles, we would hit El Morro. And we're going back there. But I want to go back at a time, maybe springtime, where the weather is fair, and we can the hike up to the bluff is the loop is 1.7 miles, and then the sandstone, the inscription rock, is a half mile, so it's not bigger. But I want to do both in one day. And again, their hours now are 9 to 4 because the sun sets, and so I want to wait until we have a good long summer, June 20th. So we have all day to do this stuff, and we can get them all in. Because I would like to go back and shoot that. Now, it's a national park run by the National Park Service, so there's no drone footage, but it looks like it would be a great place to go. So I'm going to go through these real quick. I ended up buying, so my daughter Sean's birthday is December 30th, and they're coming over the 31st. She and other family members, as well as a couple of friends, are coming over on the 31st to celebrate New Year's. So I wanted to get her a present. And Shelley found these necklaces that are made from lava rocks and other semi-precious stones like lapis. Do I have it here? No, I left it outside. I should get it so I can show it to you guys. So Shelley suggested I got it, and I think it's a good buy. I mean, it was a really good, really good purchase. So this was, I felt like the epitome of photographic shot at El Malpais, and it has the mountains in the background. These are the sandstone bluffs. It's got all the juniper there and the pinon look like they've been beat up. I don't know how else to describe it. They have a lot of character. And then all of this from that edge to that edge way over there is lava. It is basaltic rock.
Lava.
And I took a drone shot of it from about 20 feet, and I went about a quarter mile, and it is impassable. Like if you would break something within 100 feet, especially if you were wearing trifocals. There are a couple of routes that go through it. The Spanish used to avoid it. They would rather go south or north around it just because it was so difficult. The Native Americans, the ancient Puebloans, created routes through it, and they're very convoluted. There is one between Acoma Pueblo and Zuni Pueblo through it, and that's actually become a hiking trail. There is another trail that we didn't go far enough. We lost sunlight, called the Narrows, and it goes along the sandstone bluffs. It's a small road, dirt road, requires four-wheel drive, but not dramatic four-wheel drive, between the bluffs and the lava flows, and that's called the Narrows, and you can get through on that, but it's more of a scenic drive. It's not something that you want to do regularly. So there's ways to get through it, and I think when we go back to El Morro, we may go that way because eventually that'll take us to Route 36, which takes us down to El Morro. But what's amazing is the amount of lava flow. We thought we saw a lot of big lava flow, and we've got to go back to the Valley of Fires. That's another location that is lava flow based. And this lava is a little bit older than the Valley of Fires. The Valley of Fires is around 5,000. This, as I understand it, was around 12,000. But in the background over here, that's Mount Taylor. And Mount Taylor is 11,000 feet high. And it was a continuous exploding volcano. And for 4 million years, between 114 million years ago and 110 million years ago, that volcano just blew up and created most of the geology in the area, because that's where all those gemstones come from. So we want to go back there and do some gem hunting, I think. This is looking towards the north, and this is looking towards the south. And there was a name for this. We read the name in the visitor center, and it is a natural formation in the rock that collects water that both all three, the Spanish, the white settlers, and the Native Americans used to count on to have water. This is only one. This one was about 6 feet across the middle from here to here, and the water was frozen in it. It had a frozen layer, but it was still there. And it was in the sandstone. So these collect water. There were several, as we walked in this direction, there were several more as we headed that way. Oh, just a couple of back shots. So one of the things that we wanted to visit was the La Ventana Natural Arch. It's the second largest natural arch in New Mexico. And there is a recreation area there with picnic tables. And again, you're going to see this in next week's video because we got that. But as you can see here, this is the National Conservation Area as opposed to the National Monument. The conservation area is run by the BLM. The monument is run by the National Park Service. So this makes it open to drone. We got some drone footage of the arch. So you'll see that next week. And then it talks about the different things. Shelley took all of these because she was walking up the hiking trail. I'm hesitant to call it a walking trail because it was a paved sidewalk, basically.
Well, it ended though, and then it was just a rock trail.
Oh, was it? I didn't get that far.
Gravel trail.
Yeah, you were already coming back by the time I got there. Because
we were standing on the gravel when we took those pictures. Yeah.
So that's the arch itself, and then of course Shelley took her selfie, and we took our selfie with us in the arch. So those, you'll see all of this next week in next week's video. It's a lot of editing. There's some drone footage, time lapses, all the stuff that we normally do. And this was pretty much the end of the day. This doesn't show it, but it was clouds all day, and it wasn't partly cloudy. It was just cloudy. And then by this time, the sun had actually gone over the proverbial mountain. So I was surprised that we even got these shots. So, but it was a good time. We had a great time at it.
So some of the things that we are planning on doing in the next year, that would include what?
So several things. Number one, we're going to add a little bit of variety. First of all, we may be going back to some of these same places just because we want to see them in spring and summer. I want to go back to one of the Salinas Pueblos in the spring when there's green, when it's green. The first one that we went to, Karai. I want to go back to Karai with the cottonwood trees and the picnic tables and things like that when it's green and not yellow and gray. Then by that time, I will have the trailer and the boat done. So we'll probably doing some boating excursions. And third, there's something that I've always wanted to do in New Mexico and didn't have the patience, and that is to go rock hounding for both mostly semi-precious stones, but also New Mexico is rich in paleontology. I mean, most of New Mexico was part of the Western Inland Seaway at some point. It covered half of New Mexico from about Farmington on the diagonal and into Texas. That means at some point, most of New Mexico was under 300 feet of seawater. Well, when that seaway dried up, what it left behind was a bunch of animals that eventually fossilized. Excuse me. So those fossils are still out there. Some of the big ones, if you go to Ghost Ranch, there's fossils out there that they've collected. That's where the New Mexico state dinosaur is. But in other locations that are open to rock hounding, it's not illegal to collect them because it's on state forest land, national forest land, BLM land, and they allow that. There's others such as trilobites, and there are shark's teeth. And so I want to add a little bit of that kind of adventure to it as well. So I think we're going to expand the breadth of our travels in New Mexico. So they include boating and some geology and maybe some paleontology, and not just going to, they'll be going to locations. But for example, I'd like to take a trip down Roswell Way to go and collect some of those Pecos diamonds because apparently they're just laying on the dirt road there. So I'm sure people have picked them all up by now. But
well, they're just quartz.
But yeah, they're just quartz, but they call them Pecos diamonds.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't necessarily, I don't care if nobody buys them. I have them. I want one. I'll figure out if I want to do anything at all with it.
Well, there is actually a rock hound state park
right
in New Mexico, which is down by Deming. down southeast New Mexico, and it's apparently a really good place to go camping. And they have electric sites where you can hook up to electric, and bathrooms and showers and everything. So
Yeah.
maybe when we're ready to go camping, we can try that out.
Well, I do have access because I have access to the recreation facility on the air base here in Albuquerque, Kirtland Air Force Base. They have a recreation facility, and they do have travel trailers that they rent out. And I can pull one of them easily on my truck. So we almost did that this year, and then I rented it. And then they told me that I got a call from them saying that they had rented out something that wasn't available. That although I had rented it, it really wasn't available. So they gave me my money back. And by that time, it just got to be winter, But one of them is bigger. It has a bed, a kitchen, a bath and shower kind of thing, and you can rent them for around $105 a night, which isn't bad. And my truck can handle the weight. I already know that. So we're going to do a little bit of that, and maybe Rockhound State Park, those places that are south of us that are more than a day trip. Rockhound requires an overnight camping, maybe a week. And weekends are not the best time to go because they're packed. But if you go during the weekday and you reserve one of the sites with electricity, etc. So we're gonna add. I think that's kind of the future where we add variety to the kinds of things we're doing. And the reason we're doing that is because one of the things that Shelley and I enjoy is getting out of the house. I mean, we spend a lot of time between these here computers, between me editing and her building blogs and podcasts and all the other things that she's doing for the other 3 shows that she's working on. So it's good for us to get out and about, get out in the sunshine, fresh air, meet new people, talk to new people, find out new things. There isn't one of these places that we've been this year that I haven't learned something new about New Mexico. And it's actually kind of neat to know how diverse our New Mexico is when it comes to geology, archaeology, paleontology. It's amazing and how diverse it is. And it's a lot of fun discovering these new things too. So,
ready to share the kit we take with us? Video you made?
Yeah. So we're going to do 2 ways. I made a short video this afternoon, just kind of walking through the kit. What you're going to see, and what the reason I feel so good about it is that as little as when do we start working together? You and I. On projects?
2012.
So as little as 10 years ago, this kit would have filled the back of an SUV, or a field kit would have filled the back of an SUV with the seats down, or the back of a pickup truck without a top on it. I mean, the stuff was just so big, and you had to take so many things with you in order to accommodate the different situations that it just took up a lot of room. I think what's going to surprise you about this particular kit is how compact it is. And not only is it compact, it's very effective. I mean, it does some really good stuff. So let's watch that video. Hey guys, I told you that I was going to share the contents of our field kit with you. I'm going to start with the tripods. So we take 2 tripods and 1 monopod with us in each case. This is our sturdiest tripod. It's the Manfrotto 190B Pro. This is our monopod. It's a Manfrotto 690B Pro, and that's probably the oldest piece of equipment I've got. I think that came with me when I came back to New Mexico in 2010. And then this is Zumi aluminum tripod. It's very compact. You can see it folds in on itself. The legs are made of carbon fiber. So it's very compact and very lightweight. I feel this is but we've like discovered in the past that sometimes we need more than 1 tripod at a time. So forgive me for not being in the camera. I'm operating the camera at the same time. I'm doing this. So let's go on to the next piece, and that's our drone. I'll come back with that in just a sec.
Okay, this is the
Oh, it
Lycus
is. It's out of
case that
sync.
carries our drone. It has locks on it, and you can add padlocks or safety locks to it if you want. This is the drone that we fly. It's a
Where's the drone?
DJI Mavic Air 2. Folds out like that.
That's like it stopped. The video stopped, but the audio keeps going. I'm going to have to reload
See
it.
that? And this is the battery right here, pops out just like that. Each battery is good for about 34 minutes worth of flight time, depending on what you're doing. I have 3 batteries with me at all times, and I always...
Wait a minute. So I'm going to have to take this out because it is totally out of sync. Hold on. Hold on.
Hold the door. Hold the door. Well, while Toby's doing that, I'll tell you more about our upcoming trips that we might be taking. Guess. We did talk about, oh, you're going to play it out loud, so I can't hear. What?
I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. We
We'll
can
just
talk for a
take it
couple of
off
minutes.
and re-upload it.
No, I have to I have to render it. But it only takes a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead and you talk about what you're going to talk about.
I was just going to say some of the places that we want to go are going to have to wait until it gets warmer. The things that we can do while it's cold are some indoor things. There's a paleontology and anthropology museums up in Ghost Ranch that I think Toby mentioned earlier that we had talked about going to. But we didn't make it there because they were closed. But we are going to go on the 7th of January. We have reservations for it that day. So we'll be going there for sure. And there's some other museums and visitor centers that we'd like to check out that are indoors since it's going to be kind of cold and uncomfortable to be outdoors for too long this time of year. Let's see what else. We'll want to go down south during the cold part of the year because it's a little bit warmer down south than it is here in the middle of New Mexico. You lose elevation as you go south. And it's like Hatch is pretty warm. It's like Arizona weather there and further places down south. We could go to Carlsbad Caverns because that's kind of an indoor thing, but it would be an overnight stay again because it's so far to drive. It's a good probably 5-6 hours. I don't know, at least 4.
It's about 4. It's close to 5.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 4 hours and 40 minutes, something like
to
that.
just drive there.
Yeah.
So, and then it's an all day thing to go through the caves, but it's indoors, so it's pretty much the same temperature all year round.
I remember as a child, Carlsbad was a 3-day trip for us, and it was drive down there, stay overnight, go to the caverns, do the tour, go home, have dinner, and then drive back the next night. And I think there's some places down there like Carlsbad Caverns that we're going to have to do. There's other places where we can do like we did with White Sands, where we'll go down, do White Sands, and then have a long drive back. And I thought that was going to be a long day for us. It wasn't as bad, I think, because we're together and we can.
Well, I was just driving through the thing. We didn't get out and do. Well, we did a little walking, but
we did
that
that walk that they have set up for you, so you can get a sense of where it was. But it wasn't like we were going to rent those things that you slide down with. That wasn't the plan. It was too cold. And the other thing that we didn't do because it was still pretty cold down there and it was windy, even though we were being down south. And that's part of the disappointment in doing this through the winter. I think next winter we'll plan more indoor locations, and there's plenty of those. Even if you go to
just doing driving.
Saying,
but there's not much greenery this time of year unless it's pine trees. You get up where the pine trees are, which we saw some pine trees yesterday. But there's things down there like Las Cruces and Silver City and Truth or Consequences, places we haven't been yet.
Right.
There's the Gila Forest and the Dark Skies area. And
I'd love to do the dark skies, but that's
Yeah.
definitely, if I do it alone, I'll do the truck camping. But I'd like to go down there just to get the video. The other problem is once you're there, it's all red light, right? Because if you turn on a video light, you have people yell at you, turn that off, damn it. But the dark sky site, it's this beautiful site in the Gila National Forest, which is southwestern New Mexico towards Arizona. But actually, it goes into Arizona. But there's a dark sky site. It's a number one rated dark sky site in the nation. And that means it's so far away from light that you can't see your face in front of your hand. That's not right. Your hand in front of your face.
that too.
Either one.
And then if we go down there, then you want to hit a couple of other places like the catwalk for one.
Well, the catwalk. And the other thing is that would be a good one for Rockhound State Park because it's down by Silver City.
Well, that's south.
Or the further south.
But it's more like closer to Deming, I think.
Oh, okay. Where's that? Hold on just a sec. Okay. Hold on. All right. Let me try this again.
Maybe you can catch some video of the bat flights
that come out of Carlsbad Caverns.
Yeah.
Well,
there's also bats that come out of that La Ventana, right?
Right. So not La Ventana. There are locations. There are caves in the bluffs, and there are also lava tubes in El Malpais that have bat populations with them. The lava tubes are closed during the winter. They close in November. They don't let you see them. But come springtime and you can go back. Yeah. I have pictures of them. I don't have any video of the bats flying. So, all right, hang on. Let me see if I can get this video file to work here. Let me make sure that's the right one first. 758. Yeah. Let's see.
We'll use this video of our kit to close out the show, basically.
No, it can't be right. So here's another problem.
What
this video, hang on. So I just added that file, right? Share screen. No, I don't want to share screen. I want a video file. And that video file says it's, okay. I thought it said 11. All right. That's the right video file. Let's see if we can get this in sync this time. All right. Here we go. And then we'll close the show after that. How's that?
Hey guys, I told you that I was going to share the contents of our field kit with you. I'm going to start with the tripods. So we take two tripods and one monopod with us in each case. This is our sturdiest tripod. It's the Manfrotto 190B Pro. This is our monopod. It's a Manfrotto 690B Pro, and that's probably the oldest piece of equipment I've got. I think that came with me when I came back to New Mexico in 2010. And then this is Zumi aluminum tripod. It's very compact. You can see it folds in on itself. The legs are made of carbon fiber. So it's very compact and very lightweight. But we've discovered in the past that sometimes we need more than one tripod at a time. So forgive me for not being in the camera. I'm operating the camera at the same time I'm doing this. So let's go on to the next piece, and that's our drone. I'll come back with that in just a sec. Okay, this is the Leicus case that carries our drone. It has locks on it, and you can add padlocks or safety locks to it if you want. This is the drone that we fly. It's a DJI Mavic Air 2. It folds out like that. Hope you can see that. And this is the battery right here, pops out just like that. Each battery is good for about 34 minutes worth of flight time, depending on what you're doing. I have 3 batteries with me at all times, and I always have 1 battery in the drone as well as an SD card. It'll take SD cards of up to 128 gigabytes, and that will give you, if you're shooting at 4K, so this is the camera on the front here.
How do you
you can
finish
see.
that sentence?
And that camera will shoot up to 4K 60 frames a second. You can also shoot time-lapse, slow-mo, photographs, pretty much anything that you can do with any other
Hyperlapse.
DJI camera. So very convenient, very compact, and very stable platform. This is the DJI remote controller. They call it the DJI. Well, it is a remote controller, but
Smart
you fly it with this,
controller.
everything comes on this screen right here. It's very clear, very good in the daylight. A lot of drones will come with a remote controller that requires you to use either your smartphone or your tablet. This one is very convenient in that you don't have to carry an extra piece. So
People
very
can hear
convenient.
you. People can hear
And
you.
this drone has over 2,400 hours of flight time on it, and it still flies beautifully and still shoots outstanding videos, some of which you'll see or have seen in our recent videos and in upcoming videos as well. We try to use it every time we go out, okay? Let's get to the case of the other equipment. So this is the case that carries the remainder of our field equipment. It is actually a toolbox set. It's made by Milwaukee, and they call it their pack out, and they have several modules that you can add to it. I chose the 3-door module and then the small parts module. And what's neat about the small parts module is it has its own handle, but by lifting this, I can pop it off here and it locks into the top of the 3-door module. And that's true of all their cases. They all work like that. But they're very convenient with this handle and the ability to lock on top. Then down at the bottom, there's 3 doors. I've got them divided between our video equipment, audio equipment, and mounts. And I got to tell you that because equipment, these kind of tools have gotten smaller over the years, I'm able to use this. I like this because it locks the drawers in place, and then it slides out of the way. You just push it in here like that. And then this contains each of the drawers. Now I'm going to get into more detail for each of the pieces of equipment. This is our video equipment. We carry with us 2 DJI Action Cam 3s or Action 3 cameras. They're sports cameras. We have 1 iPhone 14, usually for shooting interviews. We carry 1 DJI Pocket 2, which has a gimbal on top. We carry 1 DJI OM4, so if we want to have the iPhone 14 on a gimbal, that's what that's for. And then we also have a power supply. This is a 6,000 amp waterproof power supply, and we use that on the front of the truck with the action cam that we put on the front of the truck. That way we can leave it on. It'll run for 8 hours between the battery in the action cam and this. And then in addition to that, we carry 2 LED lights, video lights. They are powered by lithium ion cells, and they put out a whole bunch of power. We need them occasionally, not all the time, because the cameras are so good that we don't always need them. And of course, a lot of our shooting is outdoors. So I'll show you the action cams here in just a minute. Our audio equipment includes a Comica VM20 shotgun mic. For its price, it's one of the best of its kind out there. It also has a lithium battery for charging it. You don't have to have batteries for it. On-off switch, and it also has a volume, a gain control back here. And it's literally one of the best shotgun mics I've ever owned. That's how good it is. When it comes to the wireless microphones, I'm wearing one right now, and so you're going to see one of the transmitters missing. This is the Comica Boom XD set. What's great about this set is it's lithium battery powered, and they will run from 5 to 6 hours without turning them on and off. And that's really convenient when you're flopping between cameras and trying to do a lot of things with them. So it comes with 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. The receiver that I have in the smartphone is kind of an extra purchase. It's a receiver that plugs into your smartphone, whether you're iPhone or Android, and you can buy that, and you don't need to use this receiver. It plugs directly in, never needs to be charged, and it will take your inputs from the two microphones. In addition to that, if we want to get background sounds, we carry a Tascam DV5 camera, DR5 camera that records in stereo. It's a, I'm sorry, not a camera, a Tascam DR5 stereo recorder. And it records to an SD card. It runs on battery, so we just keep a spare over there. I'm sorry, I said camera. And then right here, and we put this in our audio box, we carry a pair of handheld radios because I don't want to lose Shelley. She'll go wandering off and I need to know where she's at. And so we carry radios and I can stay in touch with her. This is the dead cat that fits the windscreen that fits on the Comica microphone. It has a indoor screen, but this is if you're shooting in the wind, and it looks like that when you have it on. Now, and then this contains a set of earbuds so that I can listen. Both the receivers, the Comica receivers, as well as the microphone have plugs for so you can listen to the sound that's coming through to the camera. It's pretty convenient. The next set of pieces are the mounts. And mounts, you find out, are what you need in addition to the tripods so that you can mount the camera in a variety of ways. The two most important that we use are these suction cup mounts that hold the action cameras on the action camera on the hood, and then we have a second one to mount the battery with the action camera on the hood. So it'll run from 6 to 8 hours depending on how cold it is and how much we use it. That makes it very convenient. We also have two handhelds. Action cameras have gotten progressively more stable. They're almost as good as gimbals. So you can put the action cameras on these handhelds, and that way you can walk around with them. A lot of the footage you see when we're out of the truck comes from the handhelds and the action cameras. This one has a mount for a smartphone because the DJI cameras have an app called DJI Mimo, and you can connect to the camera with that so you can see on a large screen what you're seeing. We have 3 different tripods. That one's for the gimbal, the DJI gimbal, but we can use them in a variety of ways. So for example, if we just want to set the handstand down, we can mount the tripod on that. So this is a chesty. This is the webbing that wraps around your body and enables you to mount an action cam on the front of your body. So when you're walking, you can do it handheld. And again, they've gotten so stable. They're very convenient. This is I'm going to call this a jib mount. So if you want to extend the length of your camera so that you can do a selfie, this is what does that. It'll mount a regular 1/4 inch by 20, or we can mount an action cam adapter onto it. And then it too has a tripod mount down on the bottom. So if I want to use this big aluminum Smart Tree tripod mount, I can put that on here and get an instant tripod out of it, or use it just to when you're adjusting cameras and things like that. And then the last piece, and this is another one that I've had a long time. Let me put this back in here. So everything has a place. Everything has to kind of go back in its original place because that's how it fits. But again, considering the equipment that we take with us and the capability we have, this is really a very compact kit. I'm very happy with it, and it gets us everything we need. So this is a Manfrotto Magic Arm. You loosen this right here, and you lock that to a tree branch or a pole or a pipe or whatever. Then you can move it in any direction that you want to mount your camera. And then when you lock this knob, it locks it in whatever position you had it last from beginning to end. It locks the whole thing. That's why they call it a magic arm. So it's very convenient if you're in a place where you can't fit a tripod or a tripod would get it in the way. So let me just go back to the cameras for just a second. I want to show them to you. So as I said, one of our fallback cameras is an iPhone 14. And honestly, smartphones have gotten so good at filmmaking that we could probably use this all the time if we wanted to. And as a matter of fact, I'm shooting it on my personal, I'm shooting all of this on my personal smartphone 14. Shelley has a smartphone, I'm sorry, an iPhone that she carries with her as well. So this enables us to magnetically mount to the gimbal back here. So we can get gimbal, you know, smooth shooting with the video camera. And it will shoot 4K, it'll shoot time lapses, it'll shoot slow-mo, it'll shoot photos, it'll shoot portraits. It has a cinematic mode for videography. So they're very capable, and I imagine sooner or later, if we could put it outdoors or if it was waterproof, I'd use it for that. I do have a waterproof case with it that I don't carry all the time. So this is the DJI Action Cam that I was talking about. We have them in these cases. Now, they're very good. They have the same sensor that the Pocket does, that the drone does. It has a front screen and a back screen, so if you're shooting selfie style, you can see what's going on here. I have it mounted in a PGY Tech titanium case that protects it, but in addition to that, this right here, that's a cold shoe mount, so if I want to mount a light or a shotgun microphone or the receiver for the wireless microphones, it enables me to do that. So, and we carry 2 of these. So I have probably more DJI products than I have everything else. We have the 2 DJI Action Cams. We have the DJI OM4. We have the DJI Pocket 2. Let me see if I can get that out here so you can see what it is. Now this this Pocket 2 is in a 3D printed case made by a guy in Australia, a company in Australia now, and his name is Scotty, and his company is called Scotty Makes Stuff. And you can see the Pocket 2 is completely in here and completely protected. This is a wireless microphone that comes with a Pocket 2 Creators Combo, but the Pocket 2 is locked in place right here. And as you can see, it has the same camera that you saw on the front of the drone. And once you turn this on, it has a battery. What I try to do is I leave all my equipment power with, you know, freshly charged, and I'll have an SD card in them so that I can pull them up and use them at any time. So this is one of the favorite tools because it's so compact. The fact that you put this Scotty Makes Stuff protector on, it makes it a little bit bigger, but it also gives you additional tripod heads, bottom mount. So there's a lot of things that you can do with this that makes it much easier to use. And it has a place up here to store an extra SD card. And as I said, this is a wireless microphone that you see on top here that comes with the Pocket 2 Creator Combo. So you can use this as a wireless mic as well, or you not use it as a wireless mic. It has that wireless mic capability. So I think that's everything. I hope this didn't go longer than you wanted it to, but I wanted to make sure you got a good idea of all the equipment that we carry with us when we go out into the field. So let me turn this off here. Last piece, this is our small parts box. I won't spend a lot of time on it because I don't need to go through all the parts. The important thing is this is part of that Milwaukee pack-out set, so this fits on right on top of the 3 doors. It has locking mechanisms on the bottom, locks into place with that right there, so you can take it off, comes with a carrying handle. And then it's divided into all these small boxes that you can arrange however you want. You can actually buy these boxes separately if you need to. I won't go through all the details, but these are all the small parts that you require, such as audio connection cables when you're not using wireless systems, tripod mounts, you always need tripod mounts, all the parts that you need for mounting action cameras. The GoPro gave, you know, the model. Headlamp, so if I'm working at night and packing stuff away, I've got a headlamp. I've got a camera shoulder mount, a Leatherman tool, a couple of hex wrenches, 1 metric and 1 SAE. So as you can see, it's just very convenient and even more convenient because it fits on top of that Milwaukee pack-out 3-drawer module. And they're very well built. I mean, very nicely built. Okay, that's it, guys. That's our kit. Hope you got something out of it. I don't have an idea list up yet for just this kit. I will get one up on our Amazon store so I can start referring to you to these things if you have any questions. So.
All right, you're going to
How do I stop that?
click that stop button there.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
All right, so that's it. I did want to bring a couple of pieces to show you. So when I talked about the smartphone 14 and the gimbal combination, this is the DJI OM4. Here's as I showed you, the tripod that fits on there. But this enables me to mount the iPhone 14 on it. The iPhone 14 has 3 lenses: a normal lens, wide angle, and a zoom lens. And the zoom is 3.5 times, and it's optical, not digital. It'll shoot up to 4K, 60 frames. It'll shoot time lapses, and when you put it on this gimbal, it just makes it really, really easy to use. So that's one, and that's a good combination. I would guess that there are filmmakers out there today, and this kind of trend started 4 or 5 years ago when somebody made some cinematographer made an entire movie paid for by Hollywood on his smartphone. And that smartphone that he used was nowhere near the capabilities of these most recent models. So like I said, this is an iPhone. Has the 15 come out yet? No.
Just
So
the Max Pro 14. I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
whatever that is.
So this is the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you could use this for everything. Pretty much. That's how capable it is. This is what I was talking about. This is the Pocket. It has that case made by Scotty Makes Stuff. It's all 3D printed, but he's very good at it. And he covers the case. And you can see that's the same gimbal and camera. It's a 4K 60 frame camera that's on the drone. So anytime you're using a product, one of these products made by DJI, you can be assured that everything's going to match. It's going to look like it all comes out of the same camera because it is the camera. I mean, effectively is the same camera, the same sensor. And so that makes it very convenient. Shelley said that she was kind of bothered by the fact that she dropped this once. And I pointed out to her that as soon as I got this case on it, I dropped it as well. Now, thankfully, the case took the beating and not the camera. And DJI will be very happy to sell you insurance on any of the products that you buy from them. This is the action camera. This is their DJI's version of the GoPro. And it's got the same sensor. It's a 100,000 kilobaud per second sensor on it. Shoots 4K up to 60 frames a second. The software is going to be updated. So the firmware is going to be updated next month, and we'll be able to shoot 5 and 6K if we want. I don't know why we need to do that since we've rendered everything at 1920 by 1080. But the advantage of 4K is that a 4K image is 4 times the size of an HD image, the 1920, which is standard for YouTube and all these others. So if you want to zoom in, you can zoom in up to 75% and not lose anything in resolution if you shoot everything in 4K and then render it 1920 by 1080p. So that's what it looks like. And this little package right here, this is a made by PYG Tech. And it's just a case for the camera that fits in that protects it. It's made of titanium, and they're not very expensive. But the big advantage here is that it has this cold shoe mount. So if you want to put a light in there or a microphone, or in the case of the Comica, the receiver, the wireless microphone receiver, you plugs in there and then plugs into the side of the camera here. So it's got a lot of good bounce. It's different from the GoPro. It does have the standard GoPro 2-prong hole mount thing, but this one is magnetic and it'll pop right off if I can squeeze it hard enough. So it's magnetic, so it comes right off, and that way you can just lay it flat. And it also, the other thing that it'll do, I did that too quickly. So the other thing that the action, the DJI Action Cam, is it also has a magnetic mount on the bottom here. So if you wanted to shoot verticals, you can do it with the DJI Action Cam, and the GoPro mount will fit right on the bottom here. So it's very cool. I can't, there is nothing in me that would say I would rather have a DJI product than a GoPro product, because I think GoPro makes great products. I'm just kind of a DJI bigot.
Fanboy.
Fanboy.
Yeah, fanboy.
And I love their products, and the fact that it's the same sensor in all of them makes it really cool. So your footage looks like it's coming out of the same camera. But what excites me is the capability that's coming out of these smartphones, because they're just amazing. There's the.
He says, I see the iPhone 14 runs around $1,400.
No, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is the top end camera with the 3 lenses, is $1,100. And I just got one for $300 because I added another account. So I got another account. It raised my, I already had 2 lines. I bought a 3rd line. It cost me another $5 a month. And I got a iPhone Pro Max 14 for $300. They gave me $800 on an old, I don't want to say an iPhone 11 that I had. So they're only $1,100, at least at T-Mobile. I don't know, maybe the other guys. So this is the one of the Komicas we have. This is the wireless microphone set, and this will plug into the action camera. It'll also plug into the GoPro. This is the receiver, and it has 2 transmitters. It has windscreens for the transmitters. And here's what I was talking about. So you can, this is an add-on. You can buy this little device here and plug it directly into your smartphone, and it's a receiver, and it'll handle. Is that a good way? Yeah. Here, why don't you hold that up?
That's what they
so
do.
It's a receiver that works with the iPhone, and they have one with a USB-C port that works with the Android. And that way you can use both transmitters and that plug directly into your smartphone. And it makes it really convenient. Our interviews, all the interviews that we've done so far this year have been done with the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the one of the transmitters and this receiver plugged into the smartphone. And it really works really well. That video that you just saw me make, I made on my personal iPhone, and I used this as the receiver, and then I used one of the wireless mics on the lapel. So that's just some of the equipment. I think it's really exciting to us that we have this level of equipment. It's producing the kind of product, video product, that we are producing, because we're very happy with it. We don't feel like we have to take, I mean, I do have a truck, but I don't feel like I have to take a truckload of equipment out with us anymore. I can be ready. It takes me a lot less time to prepare, because everything has to be charged and loaded before every time I go out. What I mean by loaded is it has to have blank SD cards in it. So we charge everything, we load them with blank SD cards, and we're ready to go the next morning. So,
all right. Good news.
Good news.
We're on our way for 2023. We're going to be having a happy new year. Toby's having a little family party on Saturday to celebrate the new year.
With my fam.
With his family.
We're going to eat black-eyed
peas.
Black-eyed peas.
Yeah.
Isn't that the name of a group?
Yeah. And then we're going to have Women Conquer Business tomorrow, and also Messages and Methods at our usual times. Hope you'll join us. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
If there's any questions you have, I will put up this video separately, the field kit video. I'll put that up separately. And then I'll tie it to I'll make that list after Shelley goes home tonight. I'll make an Amazon ideal list for all the equipment that I showed here. Although it's already located in other places, I'll make one kit that I can add to the description box for that particular video. Okay?
All right. Thanks for being here tonight. And once again, if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, please do so. And we just took the thing off. So It's okay.
I didn't have it on
Support it
until about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Where
Okay.
they could write to us if
Right,
they
okay.
wanted
There,
to know
go
more.
ahead.
So if you want to know more, of course, we're on YouTube at youtube.nmdaytrips.com. You can email us at email@nmdaytrips.com. You can leave a voicemail or text at 505-750-2744. We have our Amazon store there at store.nmdaytrips.com. You can schedule a free consultation with us to design your own YouTube channel so you can start vlogging too. Or you can podcast about the things that you do and see at consulting.agkmedia.studio. I'm just reading what's on the screen here.
That's a good idea.
All right. Get our new Livecast Life book at book.livecast.life. Subscribe to our weekly update at news.agkmedia.studio. And you can get my latest course, How to Create, Publish, and Distribute Content Consistently, at course.agkmedia.studio. Learn more at agkmedia.studio. That's our current website. We are updating our website, and we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the new year. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here. We do appreciate you being here consistently to join us with our shows. We really appreciate it.
And we hope to see more of you soon.
All right. Go back to Brand. You ready for an outro?
See you again next time.
Thanks for joining us tonight, you guys.
Wait. What was the thing we were supposed to say?
Because, you know what? After we talked last night around 10:30, and I knew you were already in bed.
Yeah.
I wanted to call and say, I forgot it. Did you remember it?
We are who we are because of where we've been. Isn't that what it was? You heard something in a movie yesterday.
So we watched a movie at the visitor center. That very nice visitor center. It was a good 17-minute movie about the area, and they had N. Scott Momode as one of the narrators. And there was a very serious. I thought the cutest thing that happened to me during that movie is I don't know if those of you who know N. Scott Momode. He's a very famous Native American author, and has done a lot of great, Pulitzer Prize winning Native American author. But he's aged like the rest of us. And they had a picture of him, a video of him. He was in one of the videos, camera on. And Shelley turned to me and she says, "He looks more like Jason's dad than you do." It was really kind of cute because as I looked at him, he did. He looked round face. Yeah, the rounder face and the pulled back hair. It looked a lot. It looked a lot like Jason. Anyway, he said something, and it was and we both turned like, "Oh my God!"
I am who I am because of where I've been. Isn't that what he said? Because
I am who I am. Well, that makes sense. I tried finding it last night. I mean, I did that. It turns out there is a series, a short-lived series called I Am Who I Am.
Okay.
And so that's all I got because it was all social media.
So we'll just have to make it up and say, we are who we are because of where we've been.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, we like it. That's going to be our new tagline. We liked it. That's how much we liked it when we saw that movie yesterday.
So, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow if you join us on Messages and Methods.